Hey there everyone, Spazzy Dragon aka Syndromes here, and welcome finally to the 2017 Discovery Freelancer tutorial slash let's play slash full play slash guide slash thing. This is the first episode out of quite a few where I'm going to be playing Discovery Freelancer and going through all the steps as a new player, starting completely from scratch, and this is going to be doubling as a let's play, as a guide, as a tutorial, as a slash thing, and whatever I just mentioned in the start of the video. Now, if I miss something, or you are a new player, you want me to elaborate on some of the points that I make during this video, the comment section is down there underneath this video. Just comment and I will try to answer it in the next episode, or the episode after, because I'm probably going to be shooting a couple of these at the same time and releasing them subsequently, and hopefully everything's going to be okay. This is going to be the first year, and if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while now, you probably know that I try to make one of these Let's Plays every single year at least once. You know, this year has been kind of kind of late, but this is going to be the first year that I'm going to quickly add a small memo about obtaining the game, because it has become very problematic. You see, the problem is that Microsoft, the publisher of this game, actually has taken down the site, so you cannot order this game anymore. And they have, for a couple of years now, they haven't added it to the Microsoft Play Store, so you cannot even purchase the game legally anymore. The only places where you can still obtain this game is either from eBay or from some very old outlets, you know, from bargain bins. So, considering Microsoft is not interested in monetizing this game anymore, it has been dubbed by many as abandonware. And so you can actually, in order to play this mod, in order to play on our server, you can just simply torrent the game. You can find a link to a safe torrent on our site on the same page where you download the mod. The link is down there in the video description, and basically that forum thread explains everything you need to know about obtaining the game and how to do everything in order to actually start playing on our server. Anyway, after you have installed the game and the mod, and small reminder to everyone, you actually need to launch the game through the launcher that comes with the mod and not with the default shortcut that comes with the game. It's not going to launch the game. And also, a small note for Windows 10 users, you will need to enable, if you haven't already, you will need to enable the Windows service packages for Net Framework and Direct Play in your Windows 10 settings, otherwise the game is not going to launch. Anyway, after that is all done, comes the first part. You need to understand that Discovery Freelancer is a content-based modification of the old game Freelancer by Microsoft from 2003, and it has been crafted and is being still crafted by the Discovery gaming community. And the whole mod is specifically made for our official server, and it has been specifically made for online play. It means that, yes, this mod does have a single-player function, but it's just a sandbox. There are no original missions left from the game due to vehicle, or rather ship balance reasons. You can play this single-player, but the whole point of the Discovery mod is to play multiplayer, and that's what we're going to do. Just like any other of these old games, the first thing is going to happen, since ESRB is quite new still at the time in 2003, or, you know, relatively speaking, it is going to say, do you want to continue? We're going to press yay, and we are just going to go straight for the internet thing. You need to understand that there's only one server that is officially supported, and that is the official Discovery Freelancer RP2 24/7, and that is the one we're going to be joining in. Right now, I'm shooting this relatively early in the morning. There's only 43 players online, but I think that is going to be a good thing, because we are actually going to be starting from scratch, and I want as much wiggle room as possible. The less players online on the server at this point, the better for me and for the purpose of this particular series, or at least this particular video part, anyway. So, we're just going to go here. As you can see, I'm actually, I was testing a few things. We're just going to delete that character for now, and we are going to start a new one. Now, for a new player, don't let this topic fool you. Title, not topic, title. Don't let this fool you. You're not creating a character here, you're creating just the ship. The ship is going to be how other players are going to see you in the game world. That is, this is basically the title that you are going to be represented in game. This is going to be what is hovering above your ship as other players interact with you. So, something you need to understand that this name or call sign, depending on what you choose, it must be within the server rules. So obviously this, again, is a roleplay server, and your interaction with every single player on the server is going to be mostly in roleplay, so the name of your character needs to reflect that. So the usage of some sort of country of origin, such as something name, Russ is forbidden, or PL, or whatever people use these days. Swear words are prohibited, and, you know, don't do that. You're going to get renamed and charged by the administration team. And basically, there are two ways in order to two best ways that I personally found to name your ships. First one is just the first name and the last name. I am going to link a character name generator down there in the video description, so you don't have to worry about that, so you can just go like this. Freelancer is a little game. It doesn't understand spaces, so if we just go back here and try to put a space, it's just going to put a underdash, so I kind of prefer the aesthetics of a dot instead of a underdash. This is the first way to you know, create a character name. This is the first variant, just the first and last name of your character that you're going to be flying. The other method, though, is to create a call sign. The difference between the two is, if you imagine for a moment, the character name and last name is something you would see at the side of a contacts list. You know, you're flying in your spaceship, you just look at the contacts, you know, local contacts list, and you just see the names of people in the vicinity. The second one is the ship's call sign, and that is kind of more astute to something you would see painted on the side of the ship. So, so for example, the last rider, or something along those lines. Basically just something that you would see on, just painted on the side of the ship. Obviously, you know, don't name yourself the Millennium Falcon or something like that. That is going to be quickly renamed. But be creative. So for now, I'm just going to go with Dave Cypress. And we're going to create the character. Now, at this point in time, and, you know, especially for a new player, you are kind of new to roleplay environment, right? If you are new to a roleplay environment, you will need to kind of get used to things. But hopefully, as these video series goes on, there's going to be plenty of player interaction that can serve as sort of a example of how things are done. But anyway, this is our first ship. You can create up to 7 different ships on a single account, but you can have multiple accounts. You can manage backup and otherwise just modify your accounts as you see fit through the game launcher, and this is just a very neat and simple method to keep things organized. For example, oh, I want a character account that houses all of my characters in, say, Liberty, or I want to have an account only that is dedicated to unlawful characters or lawful characters or something like that. Anyway, let's just jump straight into the game. Alright, so if you've played Freelancer before, you probably know that this is not Planet Manhattan. You don't actually start the game as a new player on Planet Manhattan anymore. We have a specific new system. It's called Pennsylvania, and you are starting on Planet Erie. So this is the place where you're going to start off. You will also notice that this is not, in fact, a Starflyer. This is a starting ship, sure, but the thing about the starting ship is that it is not really all that weak. As you can see, we already have Class 7 and Class 8 weapons. Weapon classes in general have been reworked for Discovery mod, as we have to kind of get around the game's limitations when it comes to having a finite amount of gun classes. So you see that a lot of these guns are being reused. For example, we don't really have low tier guns anymore. There's just the high tier stuff in general. The same applies for ships in general. You don't have these very dinky starting ships anymore. You start off with a very basic ship. Basic. That's the key word here. It's a basic ship, but it's not a weak ship. If you deck this thing out in the right order, you can actually do pretty well. So, you start off with the default amount of credits. By that means not a lot. You will also start off with 3 commodities that you will find in your cargo bay, and one is the Discovery Freelancer server rules. For those of you who need to... this is mostly for players who are not keen on visiting the forums, but this is something you need to hold on to, because the problem with any sort of roleplay game, not just Disco, any sort of role-playing game is that if it's never meant to be, if it wasn't designed around roleplay, that it means that there's a lot of things that we expect players to do and expect players not to do, and that has to be done by them. Like, they have to enforce their own boundaries. So there's quite a fair amount of rules here. For example, this was something we already just covered just now. Character names must be in roleplay, and the excessive symbols, profanity, country tags, memes, pop culture references, etc., etc., right? Swearing, insulting out of roleplay, disconnecting in space while interacting with another player, for example, being in a fight or being pirated by a pirate, etc., etc. This is something that you, as a new player, need to go through and, memorize most of it, at least the key features. These are cherry-picked examples. There's a couple of more that you need to know, but again, you actually need to go to visit our forums at discoverygc.com and go to the server rules to make sure that, you're kept up to date. Because these things actually change. And, better be on top of things. The second thing in our inventory is a history of Sirius that is mostly for lore things. If you've never played Discovery before, if this is your first time playing Discovery Freelancer, this is a good way to sort of get a general idea of how things are done. The vanilla game stops at 800 AS. Nomad attempt to overtake Sirius is stopped by the Order. Single player campaign is set through 800 to 801 after settlement. And so basically all of this is, all of these other landmarks, or, well, not landmarks, just time frames, are just Discovery Freelancer mod over the years and how players have acted it out. Anyway, the third and the final thing that you'll get in your inventory is the Pilot's Handbook. This is just a collection of very simple tips, but considering we're just going to go through all of this anyway, I'm not going to read through them just now. I'm actually going to be selling most of these right now, except for the server rules. We might as well keep that. Alright, so if everything is fine and everything is clear, we are just going to launch into space now. And something that I need to do is transition scripts. There we go. Let's launch. There we go, and we are out. Now, the thing that I just enabled in the game options was basically just turning on those little cutscene movies, because I think they're cute. Anyway, welcome to the Pennsylvania system. This is the starting point for our new, newly created characters. And this is going to be your little playground for the first couple of days or hours, depending on how proficient you are. Depending on how proficient you are with the game.
I want to land.
Acknowledged. Your request to land is granted. Proceed to land.
We see some zoners
Cargo.
hauling oxygen to planet Erie. Guys, I think that this planet has enough oxygen. You don't really need to bother. Anyway, the thing about Discovery Freelancer is that, again, this is a roleplay server. All of the interaction between players is done within roleplay. And, you know, you are a completely new pilot off the ground. I highly don't suggest that you worry about your character's backstory or situation just yet. It's a little bit too early for that. The first thing you need to do is set a list of small... how do you phrase this? A small list of short-term goals for you as a player and for you as a character in roleplay. So, you're fresh off the boat, so to speak. You are in the land of opportunity. You are in the House of Liberty. And so I think it's time to make more money. Now, when you undock from the planet, you will see that there is a message appearing. This is a message from the battleship Gettysburg, which incidentally is this station right here. It's a battleship, which states that due to the increased Liberty, Rogue, and Xeno activity in the area, we are now paying more for any criminal pilots that you deliver and sell to Gettysburg next to planet Erie. You may either take missions against them or to seek them out on your own within the fields. And so, your first short-term goal is to understand sort of the point of disco, your progression curve, because it's actually not as simple and straightforward as it was in the original Freelancer. You started off with the weakest possible ship, and your goal was to get the best. You know, there's only one best ship in the game. Discovery Freelancer is a little bit different, since the mod was built around roleplay and the point of roleplay's player interaction. We removed a lot of the, you know, starting problems for new players. You can actually get a completely decked out fighting ship, a PvP capable ship, very early on in the game. And the point of Discovery Freelancer for you as a new player is to simply find a character and create a character with a ship that you feel comfortable in and that you find fun flying around. So, right now we are a freelancer, we're not affiliated with any group. As you can see, all of these NPCs flying around are completely white. I'm going to be talking about the reputation system a little bit more later. But first of all, let's just dock on Battleship Gettysburg and see what kind of jobs we can get, because that is going to be our first short-term goal. We are going to figure out how to obtain more money. And in this first part of the video, I'm going to be doing exactly that. Having docked on the station, we can actually go to the bar where we are going to get either information or missions. I'm currently hovering my mouse over these NPCs. NPCs with a suitcase means that they have a mission for us, while NPCs with a empty bubble means that they have nothing for us to see. Anyway, if we go straight to the jobs board, we can actually take a look at some of these missions. So, let's just take this one. A mission seems relatively simple. Difficulty 15 as opposed to difficulty 2, but I am a seasoned-ish player, so it shouldn't be a problem for me, even with this starting ship. And that's, again, I want to show you that, yes, this is just the first ship you get. It's completely unmodified. We haven't bought anything, but it's still PvP you know, PvE capable. So we're just going to select this mission, and we need to launch the space. Well, the system, sorry, the mission is actually relatively close. We don't have to really travel too much. Sometimes you're going to get missions that are very far away from any other
Enemy ships will
soldiers.
be at the mission waypoint. Refer to the nav map for specific instructions.
Down in this case, we are actually very close on the transit lane. Now, the transit lanes are obviously a very quick and easy way for you to get across the system. You just need to dock on them, and they're just going to fling you all the way to whatever the end lies at. You can enter this lane on any of these trade lane rings that they are called, and we are just going to do that. It's actually very hard for me to explain very basic things, because I've been playing this game for so long. If you're a completely new player, if you've never watched, or sorry, if you've never played Freelancer before, I highly suggest that you at least watch a Let's Play, because it is going to answer so many questions you might have after this video. Well, that, and you will know the overall story of the game as well. We're just currently entering a field. Thankfully, as you're traveling through these lanes, you become invulnerable to asteroids and collision damage. See more NPCs. There's just the Liberty Navy piloting, and our mission waypoint lies about 17k away from here. The mission begins at roughly 3k away. You will also notice that as I'm flying in cruise speed, which you can access by either clicking this icon or just going Shift W, you'll notice that my energy actually drains. Now, energy is obviously needed for firing weapons and stuff, but that is something that you need to quickly figure out, because the bigger the ship is, the longer it takes to recharge the energy fully. And so one of the tricks is to, right before we enter the system, the mission area, the mission spawns in at 3k-ish. So we're just going to stop and let our energy charge back in before moving into the mission range.
When I'm done with you, there won't be anything left to ID. Enemy ships in range.
So
we're painting
you are
them
gonna
so you can
die
ID them
first.
easily.
These are some rather nasty looking NPCs. These are clearly something a little bit geared towards a little bit more bigger players. You can see they actually just barely grazing my shield, but even one hit is enough to dent it. So when you kill an NPC, you will notice that there is a little icon appearing here. This is to collect loot, and that is the pilots that the battleship actually mentioned.
Enemies, open fire! Evading!
The game controls is something that I really love about Freelancer, and I've personally never seen any other game, any other space-related sim, or arcade game for that matter, to replicate it in a way that Freelancer does. There we have another wave of these NPCs. Let's try and shoot this guy down before they get within firing range, although that's probably not going to happen. As you can see, my power core is actually very dinky. And this guy is just going to fly right into them.
Track failure.
Okay, these are level 12.
I picked my target. Closing in.
Track failure.
When you hear tractor failure, it just means that I'm pressing the button a little bit too early before the stuff actually drops from the NPC.
I've got a visual on the enemy. Target is prime and I'm ready. I picked my target. Closing in.
The movement is probably what sells Freelancer in general to me from a game perspective. I like Discovery Mod because of the whole roleplay aspect, and we're going to see a little bit more of that as we progress. but it's the movement. It's the
We show
movement.
area as clear. Good job. Mission commission out.
I think this is a good time to say that the idea is that when you're usually just flying around, when you start flying around, you have your, quote, dampeners active. You can see as you move forward, I'm using the mouse wheel to, you know, either increase or decrease my speed. But then you press the Z key to disable that dampener, and after that, without using the mouse wheel again, you can press Tab in order to engage your thruster. At this point, if your dampeners are disabled, if you touch your, you know, if you're modifying your ship speed with the mouse wheel again, it is going to turn them off, turn them on again. At that point, you need to press Z again. In battle, it is just preferable to always keep yourself sliding like this. Especially in PvP. That's a very common tactic because it allows you to face your enemy for a longer period of time. And yeah. Anyway, this was a good mission. You'll see that I've picked up quite a few things, including more pilots. And as we already saw in that message before, these things, these pilots are actually bought by Battleship Gettysburg, so we're just going to return them there. You'll also notice the moment you do this mission, we actually got those 99,000 credits.
Dock.
And so after we're done taking these NPCs, we're actually going to be increasing that amount. Those were some Xenos, actually.
Cancel.
I just pressed escape in order to jump out of the trade lane. I'm gonna go back, because Xeno NPCs are also bought by Battleship Gettysburg.
Cancel.
There they are. They're at the gate. Obviously, I jumped out a little bit too early, but you know, that's why cruise exists.
Target locked. Engaging Freelancer. Alpha 18.
These are lower ranked NPCs that were, as opposed to the ones we got in that mission. But the pilots that they drop actually sell for the same price. So this is actually a little bit more easier and a little bit more lucrative. It's just that random encounters like this next to the gate, they usually spawn much less NPCs than you know, you would get at missions. So it's really up to you whether or not you want to fight slightly stronger but more NPCs during missions, or do you just want to kind of fly around the field and wait for them to spawn randomly. So, all of this is going to improve our armament in general. There's many ways you can actually upgrade a ship, and after we've sold all of this, I'm going to quickly touch up on one last thing before we cut this particular video, and in part 2 I'm going to be talking about the alternative way to obtain money, you know, apart from trading.
Dock.
Though, again, trading is probably not really interesting until you get a slightly bigger ship, because you need cargo space, and, you know, 40 units of cargo is not really a lot. But over here we have this little cloud right behind Planet Erie, and that is a mining area. And I'm going to be covering mining in detail in the next episode.
Cancel.
But for now, let's just sell our loot. We can call it a day. Alright, so let's go to the commodities dealer and just sell everything. There we go. 500,000 credits just for these pilots. And we are on our way up. Let's just actually quickly see what kind of ships they sell. But yeah, as you can see, most of these ships are very expensive, you know, in comparison. One of the things that, if you are used to playing the original Freelancer, inflation is a thing, so don't be afraid if you see ships that are worth multiple tens or hundreds of millions of credits. That's normal. I notice, I did note a thing about ship upgrades, and I'm going to quickly do some of them. As you can see, we actually have room for 2 Class 8 weapons that we currently have. All of the ones that we have are Class 7, so I'm just going to remove 2 of these and replace them with something bigger. So right now, the only Class 8 that I can see here is the Garand. It's a Liberty Tachyon cannon, and we're going to buy 2 of those. And they're actually quite expensive. They're almost as expensive as that one mission, or one pilot. After that, we're going to improve our shields. We're going to sell this Class 3 shield, and instead grab ourselves a Class 8, which, again, is, well, pretty expensive.
Mounted.
And after that, I'm also going to be replacing our thruster. I'm not going to get the biggest and baddest thruster, well, not just because it's actually very expensive, but just mostly that we're not going to be going into actual PvP battles for a time. Now, the third thing that I'm going to be replacing, or rather fourth, I'm going to be replacing is the scanner. The scanner allows us to see, you know, in finger quotes, see players at a longer distance. So the regular newbie scanner shows players only from 15,000. That is not a lot. So instead we're going to grab the advanced deep scanner, which is... well, actually... okay, there we go, and... just going to grab this one. Okay, as you can see, there is one thing in your cargo hold. This is the internal compartment. There's one more thing that you can see that is mounted on your ship, and that is the Freelancer ID. This is a very, very important part of the Discovery roleplay experience and the roleplay system that we have employed on the server. I'm going to be delving into full detail about IDs and how they work, but for now, as a new player, you just need to understand that this ID is basically how we figure out what... sorry, I just tapped my microphone. How we figure out what character we are playing and what kind of character we are looking at. So if you scan another player's ship, you can see their ID, you have a immediate assumption of what their character is. And like, what are you looking at? And essentially, this is just a list of things that your character can do. So I can attack only in self-defense. I cannot just go around attacking other players without any given reason. I can do bounty contracts, and I cannot use excessively large transports. I can go only for medium transports, with the exception of the pirate train. We don't need to worry about that for now. And I cannot participate in unlawful actions as described above, except as described above, which means basically that I cannot extort other characters for money, and I cannot kill them if they, you know, things like that. But anyway, for now, this is all that we can get. The one last thing we are going to buy here is a armor upgrade. Now, the armor upgrade is basically a very simple but very useful item. It takes your base hit points and it multiplies it by whatever level the armor upgrade is for. So, for example, this multiplies my base armor for 1.4 and occupies 2 cargo space. It only occupies cargo space. It doesn't degrade your ship handling in any way. There's no mechanic for that. And this is the cheapest one that we can actually get. There are much better ones, but you can see how the cost slowly increases up to very obscene levels. So for now, So for now, we're just going to take the smallest one.
Mounted.
Having any kind of armor upgrade helps. And we're back where we started in terms of money, but it's okay. This is Freelancer. We'll find another way. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the first episode. If you have any questions, if you're a new player, you want to see something explained, the comment section is down there in the video description. Again, visit the discoverygc.com website for the forums if you have any questions, if you want to see the full set of server rules. If you are having any problems installing the game, the help section is there, and you know, just just that. Anyway, this is Spazzy Dragon aka Syndromes. This was the first episode of our /guide/tutorial/let's play series, and fly safe until next time.